Welcome back to another episode of the Day to Day with Daidrien podcast. I'm your host, Daidrien Johnson, and today I have with me Miss Carla Dirden again, and we're going to pick up from where we left off last episode on Dayton's Enigma Part 1. And I think we left off where I was going to explain the situation that happened at the gym about the guy and me accusing her of looking at a man a certain way that I found disrespectful. And some may call it an insecurity, but today we're going to get down to the bottom of it. So I believe I left off at when we got to the gym, right?
Yes, because it was the guy. She was looking at the guy. Something.
Yeah. So what happened was, I think it was a Friday night. We just got back in town. And I believe, and I found this out later, that there was already some tension built up on the way back to Houston. I didn't know this yet. And when I got to the gym, I think I left off at, in the messages, it was like I was going to play Warzone instead of go to the gym. And then we ended up going to the gym. So that's where it started. Yeah, I remember now. That's where it started. So we're in the gym, and the gym closes at, I believe, 9. It's a Friday. I think it was 9 o'clock. So it wasn't open too late. And so it started clearing out pretty fast because we got there around like 7, probably, I think about 7:38, because I don't remember being there too long. So there was this guy in there, and he kept looking at her. Now, I'm very aware of my surroundings, if not hyper aware. And what that means is just super aware of my surroundings. I was just raised that way. And I noticed that he kept looking at her. And this is one reason, too, why I found peace in not being with anybody. Because in the past, men would always try me. It didn't end well, but they would always try me when it came to women. And fellas, if y'all listen to this, if it's very important that y'all know how to defend yourselves when y'all deal with women. Because a lot of men have lost their lives in situations like this. So I noticed that he kept looking at her. I'm going to say he got jealous. And towards the end, he would take a couple of passes in between me and her. And he'll be walking kind of close. And I noticed what this man is doing. And I also noticed that he has a wife, and she was in there. And I can see why he was jealous. So towards the end of the night, he takes off his shirt in the gym when you can't take off your shirt. And I'm watching this, and we're kind of the last ones out because I'm dedicated to my craft, and so is she. So we're in there, doing what we came to do. And this guy goes to a mirror across the gym, takes off his shirt, and walks again in between me and her. Now, I haven't said anything for at least 40 minutes because I'm paying attention to what's going on. And like I said, I'm hyper aware, so I can see her looking at him. Now, it could have been out of survival instincts for her. Maybe she found it uncomfortable. Maybe she felt like she was in danger, and we'll get to that in a minute. However, when he took off his shirt, he walked in between us. Now, mind you, we are the only 4 in the gym at this time. The gym is closing. And he took it upon himself to walk in between me and her. There is so many ways to go to the locker room, and you decided to cut between me and her. At this point, I knew it was intentional. That was confirmed. So I go to the locker.
Okay, so when you say that he was jealous, are you saying who's he jealous? Where's the jealousy coming from? Is it jealous of who?
More attractive younger woman with me.
Okay, so you're saying that you feel like he was jealous because the person you was with or your girlfriend was more attractive than the person that he was with.
Oh yeah, she cleared.
Okay.
And I had ran into many problems like that, which she never knows, that I dealt with when it came to other men, which I didn't put in that book. But towards the end, a lot of stuff came out. This is why I say I had people I thought were close to me try to hit on her. So, and we'll get to that, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. I go to the locker room. At this, I'm kind of mad. I am mad because I see this. Now, normally, most of the time, I don't care. I really don't care. However, I was coming back from the locker room, and I mentioned it. This is when I started to care. It wasn't the reassurance I was looking for. I'm going to be honest. And I was mad that he was going out his way to do that. And his wife was in there. I said, "Did you see that guy?" She said, "Which guy?" I'm like, "The guy that walked in between us." She's like, "Yeah, I seen him." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And she left it at that. Okay. Wasn't the reassurance I was looking for. So I get outside. I walk her to the car. I make sure she gets in the car. Now, mind you, I peeped this a long time ago. I'm standing there talking to my girl. I look across the parking lot, and the dude is in the car, right? And his wife was parked right next to him. like I said, I'm hyper aware. I'm seeing all the way across the parking lot, and this parking lot wasn't small, and there's not many lights in the parking lot. I just got really good vision, and I pay attention. And he was parked nowhere near us. He took it upon himself when his wife left. His wife left the parking lot. She drove, went somewhere else. He did not know who I was. Drove up on us. It is 9:00 at night. I get her in the car. I tell her to put the car and drive. And I said, I guarantee you, before he even came over there, I said he finna drive over here because he was waiting in the parking lot for a reason. Get in the car and leave. You have your wife right there. Get in the car and leave. He decides to sit there until his wife leaves. He drove across the parking lot to where I was. Now, she's in the car, foot on the brake. He pulls up, lets his window down, and proceeds to have a conversation with me. I look at her. Yes, I look at her, and I just look at her because I just said he was going to do this, and he did it. And he knows not to talk to her, so he talks to me. And he asks me beta questions. What do you do? Or do you compete? You got a good body. This is and that. Like, dude was handing out 100 compliments. I'm standing there keeping the conversation short. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you because I know what you're doing. You want to be seen in this car. I think he had like a BMW. It was a BMW 8 M series. No, not an M series. It was a BMW Series 8. It wasn't an M series though. It wasn't a competition package. But he pulls up and he wants to be seen in this car because he believes that, I guess, how he got the one that he was with was his status, not his character. So he pulls up, wants to be seen in the car. I know he does. Cool. Pulls up, proceeds to talk to me for about 20 minutes, and I'm keeping the conversation short. Like, bro, I don't want to speak to you. So he drives off.
20 minutes?
About 20 minutes, yeah. And I'm just talking, he's forcing this conversation. I'm sitting here looking at her, and I'm like, I turn my head, I look back, and I'm like, and when he drives off, he's like, well, it was nice to meet you, man. This is that. And he drives off, right? I look back at her, and I was like, I told you he was going to do this. And like I told you before we left the gym, she did not give me the reassurance I was looking for. Now, I didn't bring this up. You know, I was like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to sleep this off. I need my space. Cool. I didn't give her a hug and a kiss. I put that in the book because I was frustrated. At the time, I did not know how to communicate my need for space without dismissing her need for attention. I didn't know that. So I get in the car and I explain. I sat there for a minute. I was like in a dilemma on how I should handle this. So I'm looking at my rearview mirror and I see her still sitting there. She just told me she had to go to Target before they closed, and she's still sitting there. So I'm still sitting there. And mind you, this is probably the worst argument we ever had, and it wasn't even a bad one. The reason why I say it was bad was because it lasted so long. I was trying to let this go. So I'm not going to call this an insecurity because I wasn't trying to talk about it. Just get over it. I'll be good tomorrow. But mind you, I needed my space to process this because I knew what he was doing. And I felt like at the time she was picking this argument because she kept wanting to know. And I guess her energy kind of switched because she felt like my energy was off. And this came up because, I think the argument started because she felt like I had a problem with her on the way back to Houston because I was quiet. I was just quiet, like I just like to be quiet, and she felt like there was a problem because I wasn't talkative. So she took it upon herself to tell herself something's wrong when nothing was wrong. That's when the conversation and the argument started. And I was trying to let it go. And I think the next day. You
don't think anything was wrong?
On the way back to Houston, no, nothing was wrong. But at the gym, yes. At the gym, yes. But the reason why the conversation and the argument started was because she felt like I had a problem since we was driving back to Houston from San Antonio. That's when it started because I was trying to let this go. I think about 1 or 2 days passed and I didn't bring it up because I didn't think it was a big deal. I'm young. I'm thinking it's just me making this a big deal. Red pill mentality, didn't know what to do. I didn't know. I just didn't have the emotional quotient. Like I said, I didn't know how to communicate my need for space while also, addressing her need for attention. I didn't know. So I guess I became distant and it just sparked the argument. And then that's when I let it out. And she was like, why didn't you say this 2 days ago or 1 day ago? Well, because I wanted to let it go and move on. But she felt like I had an attitude and the energy was different. So it just started an argument. And it lasted for 3 days because obviously I'm stubborn and we were not the best communicators. And that's why I say, like, we never cursed each other out. We never, raised our voices. We never did any of that stuff. It was just a miscommunication. It would be dragged out for days that did need to be dragged out. And the reason why I can remember the situation is because I didn't give myself clarity of it yet. Because I don't know what to make of that situation. Was I insecure or was it disrespectful? Because when I put a title on that, then I can move off from it because I can't get the answer from her.
That's kind of where I want to, that was kind of where I wanted to go back to. So the question of, you specifically said that she did not sort of, she didn't secure you. She didn't validate you or give you enough. When the guy was walking in between you guys, and by the time y'all got to the car, basically what you're saying is, you know, you didn't feel like she sort of held you up.
Exactly.
In that respect.
Exactly.
Okay. So my question there is, because that's always, it doesn't have to be a flaw or someone's fault, but that's always kind of a little red flag. So I would almost have to ask,
her or for me?
Well, neither necessarily, but that's definitely insecurity, because that little interaction right there where you instantly felt like she didn't sort of hold you up, that either created an insecurity or it poked an insecurity that was already there. And that's what I'm asking you. Which one was it?
I don't think it was an insecurity because I was trying to let it go. It didn't really bother me like that until she brought up the fact that she felt like I had an attitude the whole time coming back from San Antonio. And then that's what I'm saying. I didn't. And then the guy drives across the parking lot. Like, I'm like, you know what he's trying to do. I know what he's trying to do.
What do you want her response or her reaction to be at this point? So that you don't feel like she didn't hold you, like, so that you don't feel like you ended up feeling. What would have been something that she could have done or said in that moment that would have made you feel like, oh, my girl got me?
Anything but, yeah, I seen him. Just a little encouragement or something. I didn't
get
that.
Words, yeah,
and not to mention, I never got that throughout the entire relationship. I never got reassurance. Okay. But the one time I actually needed it, or I felt like I needed it, I didn't get it.
Okay. So something like, yeah, I seen him, but so what? I'm with you. Something
exactly.
Like that.
Something like that, or of that nature. Or to say you didn't see him, or to say you seen him and he made you feel uncomfortable. Like, because you didn't, if you didn't see him, you didn't see him. Like, because women only see, I'm not going to speak for every woman. I'm only speaking from the perspective of a man who seeks to talk to women. Women only see who they are interested in.
No, that's not true.
They can be a room in this generation.
They don't see. No, not really. Not really.
I gotta disagree.
Okay, so hold on a second. Let's just back it up like 20 seconds. So if she would have said, yeah, I saw him, but so what? I mean, I'm with you. That, are you asking her, did you see him? Because you're saying, are you looking at this guy because he's good looking and fine, or do you see what this fool is trying to pull with me? You see the two different things. You're saying, because when you say, did you see that guy? Are you saying, are you looking at that guy because he's attractive?
I was the second one you said, because I was trying to point out, like, this guy's doing way too much.
But what did that have to do with her, though? You're sort of making her at this point kind of share in whatever's going on with you.
Because he's doing that to talk to her.
Okay, so then you said that your girl is prettier and more physically attractive than the woman he was with. But okay.
Like, she knew. She is a person that receives. Women have the most experience with the opposite sex. She knew what he was doing. Okay. She knew that. She is constantly pursued. Many women are, not just her. She knew.
Okay.
If anybody will miss signs, it's a man.
Okay. So I can tell you that, and I am being very honest, I don't know if anyone on the podcast knows what I look like, but I'm a pretty girl. I'm also older. And I remember in my teenage years, you get a lot of guys that try to talk to you, whatever, and really they just going on physicality. They think you're cute or something physical, but they don't know nothing about you at that time anyway. But I've never picked up on subtleties like what this guy did at the gym and take it all the way to, oh, he interested in me, he want me. I've never in my mind, and I'm 50 years old, I've never said that to myself about a guy. I don't think that it's because I missed it. I think it's because my expectation is, if you want to talk to me or come and say hi or get to know me, that's precisely what I expect for you to do. And I say that with a very kind humility, because quite frankly, this may be another podcast, but guys have it hard when it comes to approaching women. It's just, you don't know how they're going to do. But I've never been the kind of woman that was, sent off some rude respond to remark if a guy tried to talk to me, but what you just described would have been completely over my head, whether I would have been with my man or not.
Okay, so that's like okay, for example, if a woman give cues for a man to approach her, because she's not going to do it, but you expect the man to know to approach you and how to do it and to be confident. People know. You know, that's like if you was to give signs for a guy to come talk to you. I'm sure you probably, if you do or don't, I'm not sure, you most likely are approached by men. You won't approach them.
I really have come to believe, and we talked about this on one of the podcasts before, about how I was praying one day and I told God, this is how I'd like for a man to decide if he's going to approach me. I'd like for him to watch me for a period of time to see me have a problem and then approach me to sort of offer a solution to the problem. And if you remember, I don't know if this was a podcast or not, but we actually talked about someone actually did approach me that way. Best day ever. But I think that what you did to her was because she could, listen, I'm going to play both sides of this for a second. She could have saw him before you saw him, after you saw him. She could have saw him with his shirt on, with his shirt off. She could have saw him when he passed through y'all, however many times he did it. She could have saw him from across the room, in the bathroom, outside in the parking lot at any point. And she could have thought something like, ooh, he fine. Or, hey, how you doing? You see the difference between the two? Self-talk. So I think that if you don't know which one it was, then what you kind of did was pulled her into something that really, because you know how you thought about it and how you felt about it. But at this point, you're sort of assuming that you know what she's thinking about it and what she's feeling about it too, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. She could have just, people say, just could have rolled off her back, just seen it and didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
But I think that, you see what I'm saying? Like, all you knew at the time was how you felt about it. And I think that it kind of sparked an insecurity. You're saying that it's because she didn't hold you up. I'm saying I don't really think that's the case. So if this isn't the first time maybe you felt like that in a relationship, possibly this is what we just call a red flag. But at the time that you actually felt like that, she hadn't really done anything for you to I'm not going to say accuse her, but she hadn't really done anything for you to, you could have just kept it to yourself and just went on about your evening with her. But you kind of wanted to.
That's what I tried to do. However, is that not the same thing?
No, at the point you said, did you see that? That's when you kind of brought her into it, because there was no conversation before that. And the guy had them passed in front of you 2 or 3 times with his shirt off. How come you didn't just leave it alone?
Okay, so I said it, and I did leave it alone. And then when he drove across the parking lot.
No. When you said it, you started it.
Okay,
that's what happened.
So check this out. I'm gonna get to my point in a minute. But I brought her into it, and I asked if she's seen it. Yes. That wasn't the deal breaker. I was going to just let it go and move on. It was her who wanted to keep knowing what the problem was. I was trying to let it go. Not to mention, if she believed that I had a problem with her all the way to San Antonio, which there wasn't one, isn't she guilty of the same thing? Not to mention, how not? And not to mention, a hug and a kiss, is that not reassurance? And because I didn't do it, what did she think?
Didn't want the hug and kiss. Well, she didn't want. You wanted reassurance for one reason, and she wanted reassurance for another one. But the only reason why she needed reassurance is because she thought you were pissed off at her.
Thoughts. Oh, there you go. Thought. Just like I thought what I thought. Because you were quiet. Situation.
You were doing, but what was happening here was she actually had reason to believe that because she said you were being too quiet.
Okay, I'm always quiet. Sometimes when I sit in silence doesn't mean there's a problem. At the very beginning of our relationship, we was able to sit in silence for hours and not have this problem. And she said, I feel like I can sit here and in your silence and not feel like there's a problem. She said that. And then she pulled what she pulled on the way to San Antonio. And I remember this. I remember everything.
So quick question. The fact that she didn't hold you up with the guy, is it the first, you said that that's not the first time that she's made, that something has come up where you felt like that, like you not holding me up saying, that was the one and only time. I never needed reassurance from her throughout the entire relationship, even when I got dealt accusations after accusations, but I was still there to reassure her. I was still there to reassure her throughout the entire 4-month relationship. But where was my reassurance? The one thing I'm still not understanding is why you needed it in the first place. That's where I'm going. Because really, this is on you. If you want to isolate it, that's fine. But on the one point, you isolate things, and on the other point, you sort of connect it to other situations and relationships. So if you want to isolate it, and she's never given you a reason to feel like she didn't hold you up, because I hate using the word insecure because a person could argue both sides of that coin. But if she's never given you a reason up until now to feel like she didn't hold you up, then why did you need reassurance right here?
When you say isolate, you mean just this situation, or you want me to include why I felt?
No, well, like that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that because that's what I said. At any other point in the relationship, did she ever make you feel insecure? And you said no, never up until this point. No.
I didn't need reassurance from her throughout the entire relationship. But when I needed it, then it wasn't there. That's like saying why does she? That's like saying why does she need the reassurance?
But this isn't a situation that she sort of initiated. You did. So I'm just asking, why did you need it then? Guys gonna come and go. If she's a pretty girl, and that's kind of what I was alluding to. I have dated guys who I think that if you know someone well enough, you don't need the reassurance, because I've always said that's the difference between being faithful and being loyal. Loyal means you know she's loyal. She don't have to do that. Faithful just means basically you're not going to go sleep with somebody else behind your current person's back. But loyalty is in their mind. Loyalty means I got you, whether I'm with you or whether I'm not with you. I got you when you're at work and I'm on the other side of town. In other words, I got you. Where was that at? Because again, why did you need it in that moment? Not why she did it all the other times, or when you did it to her all the other times, but in that moment, why did you need it? What happened in you that you needed it? Because she's a pretty girl, and you know that guys are gonna flirt with her or try to get with her, possibly, and that was pretty bold in your face if that's what you thought that was, but also behind your back. So you probably figured that if she's not holding you up in your face, she probably could, if somebody approached her at the mall next week and you weren't there, she just might give them a little play, right? That's what I think. Well, why did you need it in that moment?
Because I wanted to, because I haven't dealt with her long enough, but I wanted to know and stand firm on my convictions that she is for me. But you couldn't give me the simple.
She hadn't dealt with you long enough either.
Okay, so
she hadn't dealt with you long enough either.
Say it again.
Y'all been dealing with each other just like you said, you hadn't dealt with her. She could say the same thing. I hadn't been dealing with him for very long either. So what I want you to do is I want you to answer the question without pulling her in it. Just answer the question from your soul. Go in there and tell me why you needed it in that moment, because you can't try to level the playing field. You keep bringing her in it. I want you to leave her out of it and then tell me why you needed it in that moment.
The way you phrase that question makes it seem like you want me to imply insecurity after everything he already done.
That's what it is.
But it's not.
Daidrien, I'm telling you, that's what it is.
Okay, so explain to me how that is an insecurity.
Well, first of all, I want to tell you
what's the difference between insecurity
it's not abnormal
and disrespect.
I mean, it's not abnormal. Well, if going on exactly how the situation happened, and I'm even if I hadn't read the book and listening to you give me the he said, she said story, she does not sound like she did anything to disrespect you. Now, if you dispute with that, tell me exactly what her actions were, because it seems like all you guys are working out. You said, you see that? He comes in between you. He comes in between you again, takes shirt off. This is really, I want to say what this is really called, but I don't know if the podcast accepts that kind of lingo. Maybe you know where I'm coming from. This is a DICK swinging contest. That's what this is. That's what men call it. That's what women call it too. When I actually learned what it meant in corporate America, I kind of laughed, but that's what it is. So I won't say, but that's it's a D swinging contest.
Okay, so what about?
And then what you did was you pulled her into a D swinging contest.
Okay, that's like her pulling me into a Tom that she wasn't a part of, accusing me of talking to her friend without anything, just going off word of mouth. What's the difference?
Okay, I'm going to show you the difference. First of all,
won't she need the reassurance?
Well, no. Well, she might, but this is kind of where I'm going with it. And not to mention,
after all the micro arguments before this and the stuff that she would accuse me of, I'm thinking at this moment that she's doing this to pick a fight to get out the relationship.
No, hold on.
That's exactly what that was, because that's how it ended. That's exactly how it ended. I'm just gonna get ahead of myself, because that's exactly what she did to get out of it. She was
Okay.
she was looking for problems. She was looking for things.
Hold on. If there wasn't already an underlying issue, this is where I'm going with it. So that, because this is the way you have to dissect it, because otherwise you can be saying, no, it's your fault, no, it's your fault, no, it's your fault, no, it's my fault all day long. I'm saying that there has to have already been an underlying issue that's breeding insecurity, as I'm going to call it insecurity, for you to, and what I'm trying to get you to tell me is where it came from in you. I'm sorry, am I getting too rough?
Nah, you're not.
Okay, because I told you I was going to get you. Okay, so here's the thing. This is what I'm getting at. If you had never said anything to her at all, like if you hadn't said, you see that, and if the guy hadn't come over to you in the parking lot to talk to you, you could have just as easily never even brought that energy into your relationship and went on with your night, went with her to Target or went to grab some wings or something. But when you said, you see that, I think you were expecting a certain response or something from her. And because she didn't give you the specific response that is sort of like, it just rebounded into something else. Now, I know you got ahead of yourself, but let's see if we can stay here. I'm not trying to make you say something that I'm not trying to make you say something that you don't want to say that's not true. But I'm trying to show you that this is just textbook insecurity. And everybody, the pretty girls like us, the good-looking boys like you, because here's the thing, you're a damn good-looking guy yourself. And so she's going to be dealing with the same thing at some point, another day, another month with you. But in this particular case, what I want to know is, do you understand that if you had never said anything, that's what the evidence of your insecurity is, that you actually said something to her about it.
Even if I said something or didn't say anything, this wasn't a problem until she brought up that she felt like I had a problem with her the whole ride home. That's what started this. I was going to just sleep this off and go on about my day. She had to be somewhere at 9 o'clock and I was going home. It wasn't even that big of a deal. And I just didn't give her a hug and a kiss. It wasn't that big of a deal to me until she brought it up and she wouldn't let it go. Like I said, I did not know how to communicate my need for space, because every man needs space in his relationship. I did not know how to communicate my need for space without dismissing her need for attention or affection. I did not know how to do that. That's where I went wrong. This is not where I picked the argument or not, because at the end of the day,
you picked the argument.
I didn't pick the argument. She did, because she kept bringing it up. I let it go 2 days ago.
Well, I just feel like when you said, did you see that? What you actually meant was, did you see, are you looking at him looking at you, or do you see him trying to get with you right under my nose? Or do you see him trying to flex and, show off his BMW 8 Series and things like that? Do you see that? In other words, but if you had never said that, and then she said you were quiet, you probably could have just said, oh, I'm good. But if you, okay, but you're saying that she kind of persisted with it, that something was wrong. So then that's another indication. Here's another way you can play that story.
What is she doing? What is she doing to think that I'm doing something that will cause me to be distant? I know where you're going, but not to mention.
That's where I'm going.
Not to mention. It's a projection. Not to mention, though, that wasn't the problem. Like me saying that was the problem. Because when the argument started, she was taking off her feet that I even brought that up. She was like, I don't think I put it all in there. I'm not quite sure. I would have to go back in there. However, when I actually brought it up, what the problem was, she got upset. And this is where it got bad. She got upset that I judged or questioned her character. Red flag. But anyway. No.
That's not a red flag. It's not a red flag if you question someone's character, because I would question someone's character based on their actions and how their actions made me feel. So that's not a red flag. It might be a red flag for the one who's raising the questions, not the other person who's being asked. That's not a red flag.
My actions was far beyond what any man before me has done for her. The fact that she would even accuse me of doing such things was hurtful, but I never even said anything. And that right there is the pillar of masculinity. I knew she wouldn't understand, so I wouldn't even pick certain arguments. It would be a bunch of times where I let it go. But it was the same. And for her, it was the same things. Her friend said this, her friend said that. Like I told you, I was in a relationship with several people. That's a lot for a man to handle and this is his first relationship. Not to mention my actions proved I was committed to you. Where was her investment? Where did she invest into me? And the fact that all I asked was a little reassurance is kind of diabolical at this point, because it's like you're saying that I, as a man, I don't need reassurance. Or as a man, I'm not going to ever run into a woman with no insecurities or vice versa. We all have them, but it just depends on how you're going to act on them. Because I feel like finding your insecurity is something good, because now I know I'm insecure in that area and I can work on it. Before, I didn't know that. I was new to everything. Like I said, I did not know how to communicate my need for space while also not dismissing her need for affection.
Okay, not to cut. I'm still trying to get more clarity on what is the insecurity then. You just said I didn't know I was insecurity, but then I realized that I'm working on it. What is the insecurity?
I'm saying like insecurities. What I'm saying is insecurities may come up that I did not know I was aware of, that I can work on. That everybody has insecurities. I'm saying, do you expect a man to walk into a girl's life and she not be insecure about something? Because most women, it's more women who are insecure and they get more validation than men ever will.
Okay, hold on. But we're getting too broad about the male. But I don't want you to tell me about all other women and men. I want you to tell me about you. You said, I didn't realize I had the insecurity, and then when I did, I worked on it. What was the insecurity?
I have insecurities because I was caught in other people's trail of traumas. You have things like, for example,
keep putting it off on someone else.
But
tell me what the insecurity is. It has to start from somewhere else,
though, is what I'm saying.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But what does it raise in you?
Okay, for example, let's just say,
for an example, are you insecure because you're tall? Are you insecure because you're skinny?
Yeah, that's one of them. For one, skinny.
You're skinny, really?
Okay, hear me out. Listen. I'm being for real. Listen, I'm being for real. For example, I don't think that I'm being so serious when I say this, and anybody who know me will validate this. I don't find myself attractive, and I'm not fishing for compliments, but that's something I'm insecure about, and I don't bring it up. I don't talk about it. That's
what
one
is
of them.
It? What's the insecurity?
Not feeling attractive. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel
how physically attractive.
Everything. This is like that's
you.
me though.
You know
that's
what?
Me,
you
though.
need to be. I'm gonna need you to sign up to my.
No. Hold on. Hear me out. I'm
gonna need you to sign up.
Skinny. I'm 6'2.5", almost 6'3", 165.
What do you want to be?
180, at least 185, close to 200. Probably.
You know how easy it is to gain 15 pounds? That's easy.
It's not that easy. I have to eat over 4,000 calories a day, and then I have to work out on top of that, and then do recovery.
Can I tell you something from someone that's 25 years older than you? Your BMI is extremely important, and you have a good one now. You want to just keep it so that when the testosterone levels go down in about 15 to 20 years, you will still have a good, healthy BMI. So don't aim for that. It will come on its own. Now, that's just a little side note for anybody who's listening. Don't aim for that. Yes, I thought I was too skinny. I was insecure because people always told me I had a shape like a white girl. I ain't have 36, 24, 36, and I wanted it bad. But guess what? That was when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, and if I'd have had that shape, I'd have been 250, 300 pounds instead of my 145.
I'm a 30-34. That's unheard of in America. Like,
what's 30-34?
My waist. 30-34. Waist to
right,
length.
That means that you don't have bad visceral fat, and that so you're very less likely to have cardiovascular issues in 25 years, honey. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I understand that,
stay low. Stay low. Because you know why? That's what I always tell you this. It's like it's hard for you to see the next 10, 15 years, and you can't, but I can. Those are areas where you are now will serve you in a more healthier, mentally, physically, viscerally, because viscerally just simply, the extra fat that people have in their bellies, that's all visceral fat, and that all extra, that you won't have that. And so you'll have a healthier BMI, your number will be strong, you won't have cardiovascular issues. But if you try to put on weight now with 4,000 calories, remember, that's going to catch up with you in 15 or 20 years. Your testosterone is going to drop, but I'm telling you I'm telling you from the perspective of a female, a very feminine female, someone who can discern a really good chunk of your soul, your natural, the natural part of you, I knew I was going to make it. I'm telling you that I've seen a lot of your photo work on, it's my understanding. Do you take your own pictures?
Yes, like but they're not good enough.
Okay. I don't know where they're not good enough. You have the foundation. You need to sign on to be one of my clients because that whole not good enough. One thing that I never told myself is that I never told myself I wasn't good enough. I don't know what happened in older life, situations, harsh circumstances and things like that. But you are not just good. You're not just good enough. You're good. And in this case, good enough is below being good. Good enough is just up to par. But you're good. And I'm saying that not as someone who's trying to flatter you. I'm saying that from the perspective of what you don't know, because we've had this what you don't know conversation in other areas, but I'm saying this from the perspective of what you don't know in 15 to, let's say you're 25, I'm 50, so that's anywhere between next 15 to 25 years that if you push yourself through that ringer now, you may have negative effects, 15 to 25 years from now that you can't proceed. And I'm telling you, that's the thing where I get to say all men go through that because hormone levels and things like that are going to change. And you should really aim to stay where you are and just build lean muscle, which is, I think, what I assume when you go to the gym. Yeah, your trips to the gym is to do exactly that. So, but if you aim for that, if you try to hit it too hard and be aggressive with it, I can guarantee you it's going to have a negative effect on you in years to come that you don't see yet. So all I'm saying is you think that you're too skinny. You say you don't feel like you're physically attractive.
That's me though. I mean, listen. Okay. You ain't got to change my mind. I'm
no, I'm not going to change your mind. I'm just so curious. Like you don't wear glasses and I do, and yet I'm assuming you have 20/20 vision. You can look in the mirror. You guys, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what Daidrien looks like. Physically, he's an extremely handsome young man. Like,
don't let it out of you.
Extremely.
Don't let it out of you.
Okay, so I want you guys to go look up Daidrien Johnson on any social media platform and just look at him. And all those gorgeous pictures that you see are pictures that he takes of himself because he's got talent and skill like that. So Daidrien is a very physically handsome person. He's got a very nice, strong physique.
You know something? And this is finna get... Wait.
Come on.
Let me tell you why. Do you know how hard it is for a man to get a date? The average man is lucky to get a date a year. Did you know I had a post that I did over at least 60,000 profile views in probably in like probably less than 30 days. Not a single DM. I'll probably get a compliment twice a year. If you were somebody as invisible as I was, then you will understand, which most men are. I don't get approached. I don't get checked on. I don't get text messages. I don't get phone calls. It's not there. It doesn't happen.
Me neither. And you were the person who reassured me. As a matter of fact, when the podcast was over, I was going to ask you to repeat those words to me that you told me a month ago because I was having a day, my last couple of days, and I was feeling very sort of like a little bit down on myself because of circumstances. And I was going to ask you after the podcast is over to repeat the words that you said to me. You are 25 years old. You are a young man that I would never, because I could never date. I have dated guys your age, and I'm telling you that your words actually lifted me up to a point. And I think I told you when you told me I've never heard it put like that before. And it was so revelatory to me. This is what you possess. And now, I'm not trying to make it sound like you shouldn't be worried about the fact that you didn't have a date or haven't gotten a compliment or, your own personal stats. I have stats that are worse than that. And the reason why, please don't take it into yourself. The reason why is just because so many people out there are still so hurt and damaged and traumatized from past relationships, and not just relationships, from childhood trauma, work trauma, career wounds, the reality of what life really is, being broke.
Yeah, I don't take it personal. I'm at peace with it now. That's why, like, people ask me, how do I do it? And, like, it's been almost 2 years since I went on a date. The people I know they'll go insane. They can't understand it.
I have the same responses from people.
But
when I tell them I haven't had a boyfriend in 6 years.
But people try. You have had more people try at you. Let's just be realistic here.
No, I haven't.
That I don't believe.
No, I have not.
Okay.
I actually the one guy that I told you approached me because I had a problem. That was an approach. He was actually the first real right approach.
Okay,
I was very disappointed that nothing came of that.
Can I be honest?
I don't know why.
Can I be honest? There were I'm 25. There has only been 3 women that ever approached me. 3. In the relationship I was in, I had to fight for that. I earned that. I put the work in for that. I'm saying,
do you feel like you struggle? You really maybe losing a relationship maybe before it even gets off the ground, and so you keep saying, because you said that in the book. You
Not
keep
anymore.
saying I put the work in.
Not anymore. I
put the work in.
I used to. Not no more.
Okay. So
like I feel like no fear going into it now. Like I can do it. I just don't. I'm too exhausted. I just don't.
Exhausted is well, that means that there's a certain level of energy that you hadn't gotten back from the other relationship
I don't have those insecurities. Like I don't care if I don't hear from you. Like if you ghost me, okay. Like if you cheat on me, okay. Like I've been through it all to where.
No, you haven't been through it all, honey.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I have not been through it all, but it could be worse. Could be worse. I'm gonna say that. But what I've been through and that resume doesn't look very promising. I enjoy what I'm doing now. I'm at peace. I have some times when I'm low, but I get back to my high. It happens. It's life. It's ups and downs. So you're gonna be at the top of the mountain and the bottom. And I got so well at navigating the bottom of that mountain. I can be at the top, but I can also be just as happy at the top that I'm at the bottom. I don't have the same, like the same stuff that bothered me then does not bother me now, if that makes it. That's all I'm trying to say. Like it used to be times where like I have a reputation for this and it precedes me, that I would just cut women out of my life so easy. And I was doing that until it happened to me. I didn't change until I ran into me, but that's what it took. But for me to realize that, I can't even be mad. But it wasn't as bad as what I did to the other people. But not to mention, it didn't even last a week with them. Like wasn't even serious enough for them to even care. But I get the point. Whatever you put out there is what you get back, if not 10 times worse. I got that. I pay my karma in full. And there's a lot that I'm still learning, and I'm grateful for that. So I'm not even bitter about it no more. It doesn't bother me.
You actually demonstrated.
I don't mean to cut you off. I forgot what I said. Hopefully I'm trying to remember the words that I told you. That's what I did for her the entire relationship. So that's why I'm just so confused about the whole situation. And to this day, I still don't know. And honestly, I am fine without knowing now. Before, I was like, I really want to know, Now
but I don't think it's because I've read a little further along. I don't think it's a big mystery. I don't think I've read. I think I've gotten up to maybe page 50 or 55, and I don't think it's a mystery. I just don't know if has anybody ever told you that you use words like I think the word is maybe misogynistic, or you hate women, or do you have something against women, or there's misogynistic, there's narcissistic, there's chauvinistic.
I heard them.
Anybody ever used any words like that and told you that that's how they see you?
No.
Like it's a female. Male, but mostly female.
No woman besides the one we're talking about.
Okay.
But no other woman told me that.
So.
And if I'm prejudiced against, how can I be prejudiced against women? That doesn't even make any sense.
Well, not just prejudice. It's actually just having like this underlying maybe hatred, or now hear me out. Not just hatred or prejudice, but it's like this underlying grudge, so to speak. And it comes out in undertones and things that you say, attitudes and things like that. And a woman that will see it easily is a romantic partner, most definitely, without a doubt. You may have had other people, or any other guy may have had. I remember I told you once before, my ex-husband was definitely chauvinistic. Now that I learned more about it, he was slightly narcissistic also, and slightly misogynistic, because sort of they all go hand in hand. They're all sort of synonymous and connected to each other. It just depends on how you handle the trauma that caused it in the first place. So the thing that I'm getting at is I've read ahead in the book, because I told you I was going to read it in sections and we talk about it. But
what undertones?
The relationship was not the relationship was not really long at all. It wasn't long, and
it wasn't.
And I can see how a woman would see things along those lines in you, because what I see is that you have a lot of, I told you before, you have what I call weird smarts. So weird smarts just means that you know things that a lot of people or your peers don't know, or they're not into that. So when you talk, and I'm going to put it like this for reference purposes, you talk on higher levels of things, just random things.
So
like
that makes me a
legalese.
misogynist?
No. No, it doesn't. But I'm gonna just kind of flow with me for a second. So what I see you doing a lot of in these conversations and the text messages is you do a lot of that. You expand your words to really, really big and not really to that particular situation or instance. And I think that you forget that everybody that you talk to is not, now I'm not going to say on the same level, because just because you have weird smarts, I think everybody got weird smarts. You know stuff that they don't know. Okay.
Everybody's in their own way. Yeah, of course.
Right. But when you talk, you expand a lot of stuff, and then you start saying, well, men are like this, women are like this. And it's way too blatant, and you make blanket statements about men and women in general, rather than kind of sticking to the actual situation that's going on between you and her. If you do that to a woman over and over and over and over and over again, like it sounds like she was telling you did, then they're going to feel like you're putting them down, period. In some way, shape, form, or fashion. They're going to feel like you think that you're better. You think that you know all this. You think that, I used to tell my ex-husband that. There are certain things and certain ways that he would talk, and I'm like, I know you're trying to make me feel small on purpose. Okay, whatever. But if you do that to a woman over and over and over, and I get the feeling that you probably did do a lot of expanding of your conversations when you talked to her, but I think that one thing that you didn't do is you didn't just kind of leave it with you and her. You said you did, but I can see how you would make her feel like...
That's called straw man arguments. I didn't know I was doing that. I did not know.
Right.
Yeah,
but
I understand.
The average person don't know it's called a straw man argument. They just think that you're putting them down.
Yeah, I didn't know I was doing that. So
what you will do is, right, you'll say, okay, well, that's called a straw man. That's not what you should say. You should say, how do I make you feel? Leave the straw man and the big expanded conversation out of it and say, when have I made you feel like that? What do I say to make you feel like that? And then you sort of like think about it and chew on the floor and you're like, you know what, yeah. And then you have to be honest with yourself. Am I really just trying to be a big shot?
Yeah, now I can do that. I can do that now. I have the emotional quotient, but then that's the straw man argument. Like when you can't stay on topic and you bring up other topics to defend a topic that you already brought up so that you can win the argument. That's a straw man argument. I did not know I was doing that. I was unconscious of that.
Right,
I didn't know.
But the reason why I brought it up is because you said to this day I have no idea why she broke up with me or why she. But I'm telling you, like that's exactly probably what happened. That's exactly probably you probably made her feel small. You probably made her feel not good enough. You probably made her. Now, I'm going to tell you, because I've been in that situation, and it did make me look at another man and fall in love with him.
So I wasn't wrong.
No, I'm not saying you wasn't wrong. Don't look for that. I'm saying that these are the effects.
I felt that way.
Well, this was a woman. These are the effects of when you hurt a woman's feelings over and over and make her feel small. Those are examples of things that can happen.
So you're telling me I made her...
She can't fall in love with another man who makes her feel more emotionally warm or accepting her for who and what she is right now. And I also see that in a lot of the things you said in the book. It's like you had this agenda that was like marriage and building this, and it's only 4 months. I don't think you even gave her time to grow into. And then she said something. She said, I really don't think that I should be in this relationship right now because I have too much. It's making me realize that I still have trauma from other relationships. Exactly. That's exactly what that will do. That's exactly. It's gonna trigger other unresolved trauma.
We're getting somewhere. This is something new to me. I mean, I know what you're talking about now. But so help me understand this. I made her feel small by expanding the conversation to which she didn't understand, and she felt like I was trying to make her.
I don't think that she felt like you were trying to belittle her. I think that she probably just felt like all the things that you're talking are so far out and they're not personal. They're not, what is the word I'm looking? They're not intimate. It's not an intimate conversation when you say things. You had a text that I saw on the book, and I think you were telling her about how women get validated more times than men, or if a woman was this, she would get this instead. You take a man, you put him in the same situation, he's not going to get this. That's what you keep on doing. It's like almost like you're just spitting stats. That's what you do. You expand it way out instead of just keeping the conversation intimate between you and her. That way she feels heard, and she was where she was. Wherever she was in her soul, involvement when you guys were together. That's just where she was. But I felt like you were trying to drag her to a whole nother position where she could come up, flow on this thing together, this magical carpet ride for the rest of your life, get married, build it. And that's another thing too. Like for a 4-month relationship, I saw you like if everything in the quotes and the text messages and the thoughts and all that for only a 4-month, you guys should have still been going to the zoo, going to the park, having picnics and bicycle rides for only a 4-month relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just too the things you wanted were too mature. Not that that's wrong, but for 4 months, that's way too mature. You're trying to make her wear a pair of pants that's too big.
I believe that obviously I was wrong. I see that. That's why I put that in the book, right? And there were some times where I was right. And I just didn't. It just came down to me just not knowing. Like, and I'm getting a little bit more clarity from this conversation on how she would feel. And it's kind of answering some questions. But it was not to my intention. Like I was trying to, like that one is a fact on how I can get her to see how I felt. Because I didn't know how to explain how I felt. I didn't know how to be vulnerable. I was trying, right? But each time I get to a certain point, it felt like she moved the finish line. What I'm saying is, like, I'm trying to get her to see the point to where I'm coming from. She tried to understand my logic, and I tried. That's what I thought was the best way to explain it. But if I would have known to pick up a book and to read it, I would have had a better understanding. Or if I had something to go off of, most likely been more successful. Or if we just knew how to communicate. But that's me. I didn't know. That's why I'm taking that blame. It's my fault. And I can live with that. I can live with that.
Oh, it's obvious that you read a lot. Like, cause I know, I can tell.
Not then. I never read a book in my life.
Okay. At the time that you dated her, you never read a book in your life?
I bought my first book with her, and I was at Barnes & Noble in Deerbrook, and it's called Black Essential Wisdom. That was my first book.
Then where did you get the things that you said from? Where? Audiobooks, podcasts, where?
It most likely was just absorbed. It was most likely absorbed in my paradigm, my subconscious mind, and it just came out in that relationship. That's why I had to go back and fix that within myself. But not when you
say things that are actually statistical things or facts about masculine, feminine, or how a man should. That's not absorbed because then I would have to ask, who are your actual direct influences, especially your male influences, because you're actually saying things to her that's facts about masculinity, femininity, and you're saying those things. And that's what I'm saying, like, where the influence for these things, it's almost like that's all that's in there. Like nothing organic comes from you. Nothing organic comes from you. That's the thing. You're always saying, because the average person, blah, 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 that's a stat. You just spit stats. That's what and so you're say, like, if you put a man and a woman in the same situation, how do you know that? And why was it able to resonate and sort of penetrate you? Where are your influences, especially your male influences? Because
leveraging past experiences we've already been through.
No. You can't leverage but you can do that, but you're making blanket statements across the entire gamut of masculine and feminine like it's fact. That's what I'm saying. Where are they coming? I can actually point some things out to you because I'm like, where is he getting this from? Like, for you to say that you had never read a book.
Yeah, I leverage my past experiences, what I've already been through, and then analyze that because I'm in a constant self-reflection. So I was able to go back and look at this type of stuff, and then I was like, okay, when I may come across this quote on what I've already been through to help me articulate what it was that I went through, then that's what it was. That's just what it was. I'm not gonna reference something that I haven't been through. So right. I'm telling her what I've been through to help her understand because I didn't know how to be emotional. I knew how to be logical. That's why it came out like that.
Okay. So, and I want to go back and get the. I saw something that you said. It's, and I really was just curious as to where. Okay, so.
It's just subjectivism. It's just just taking facts. But that's
not how you actually say it.
I didn't know how to communicate it then, but that's what it was. Just taking facts without the regard of somebody else's feelings. That's objectivism. That's what I did on accident. I should have been subjective, incorporating, trying to understand her feelings. I understand where she was coming from.
So, okay. So you said taking the facts without taking into consideration other people's feelings. Where do you get the fact? Because if it's actually a fact, it's written somewhere. That's what a fact actually is. So I'm trying to find this one thing you said. When you were explaining to her about if you put a male and a female in the same situation, the male's going to get this response and the female's going to get this response. And that you say it like it's law for every male and female, though. That's what I'm saying. It's either that's an influence.
It just seems generalized, but I mean, you have to have some reading comprehension to know that's not everybody. So that's not on me, but it's a generalized statement. And I've seen this. There'll be times, for example, I'll go out, right, with a group of women, and the access that I get with these women is ridiculous.
What does that mean?
Meaning, if I went out to the club, I got free drinks, free section, free everything, most likely free parking. When I go with my boys, $20 at the door. I gotta pay at the door. Valet $60, $3,000 for the section, and you have to do a minimum of X amount of alcohol. We're taxed. That's what I can see. This I've seen this in real time. If a man and a woman was on the street,
but you've seen it in your own experience, real time. I've never seen that.
That happens.
You've seen it in your experience real time,
that's
but I've never seen it.
It's a fact. It's just I generalized it.
That's your experience, not a fact. And that's another thing that you do.
That's a fact, though. That happens.
You keep turning it into a fact, but it's really not a fact. It's just your experience. Your experience has created something in you that you believe, and that's where and that's actually your opinion about it. Is that, hey, I've seen the difference between if I go with my boys or if I go in another scenario. But that's only your experience. I haven't experienced that at all, ever. That's what I'm saying. You say it like it's fact, but really it's just what you believe now based on your experience.
A fact is something that is known. It is known or proven to be true. That's a fact.
Right, but it's only we can call it a fact, but it's a fact if it pertains to you. It's not a fact for me.
But it's known that happens in this world. I'm not the only one that experienced that, and it can be proven to be true. That's what makes it a fact. That's what I'm saying. It can be
tested. That's something that you can test. You can test that.
I made a mistake and I generalized it. But if somebody said all men ain't nothing, that's not gonna hurt my feelings because I'm not included in whatever she's talking about. I have the reading comprehension to understand that she ain't talking about everybody. So why would I get offended? That's a personal problem when it come down to it, because there's so much out there towards men, especially the legal system, how much is against men. I have never in my life came out and complained about it or took that out on some woman. Never done it before. I've never taken what another woman has said about a man that I've seen on the internet and applied it to my life as if it was true, and then I acted that out in my relationship or with anybody. That never happened.
You said a true soulmate is the person who shows you everything that's holding you back, the person who brings you to your own attention so you make the right adjustments to change your life. Good chemistry is not talking about occurrences that's conventional. Soulmates aren't found, they're made. There's a lot of people that would disagree with that, just on that one. People meet and get a good feeling and get to work building on a relationship. Not really. People meet people to get to know them better, to see if they can be in
it's a case by case
optimal relationship. So then what's the reason for getting to know, what's the reason for wanting to be in a relationship with someone that's not to get to know them better? And what's the reason, how can you not get to know someone better if you want to be in a relationship with them? What I'm pointing out here is, again, the high level, I'll put it like that, high level expanded conversation, when really it just doesn't seem like you ever answer from your soul. That's all. And that's what makes me want to say, where's the influence of that coming from? I know experience, but I always tell you that you're only 25. You haven't wrapped it all up. I know you think you have, and that's fine.
No,
but
not at all.
That's the time of the year. That's the time of your life where you're supposed to have all these bumps and bruises. Because like I always tell people, you're either going to get married or it's going to be a breakup. Yeah. In all relationships, you're either going to get married or it's going to be a breakup.
And that's what I went in there with the mindset. Like, this is either going to be something I never get over or I'm going to marry this person. That was my mindset at the time. So obviously I have emotions tied to that. I have energy, emotion tied to that. So when it hurt me in a bunch of aspects. It hurt me. I seen this as something like, not just a girl, but my best friend, my girlfriend, possibly the mother of my children, wife, all those categories. Not just somebody I just met. Like, I was locked in. That's my fault. That's me. So I gotta live.
That's
I gotta live
quality.
with that. I gotta live with that.
That's called being in love. You know, it goes back to when the girl doodles your last name and her first name on a piece of paper in like 10th grade. You know, that's called
I never had that.
Falling in love.
I never had that. So
that's called, you see, and Daidrien, I'm going to point out two things to you that shows trauma. One, you talk really, really fast when you talk about it. That's how you're doing. Two, this comment that you just said. What was it? Say it again.
I never had that.
I never had that. So you don't know what girls Daidrien have Googled. Googled your good looking self last name in 12th grade on their piece of paper. Every girl.
No.
Lord have mercy. I told you I taught seniors. Hey, I taught seniors last year, and it's real. They do it.
I've been invisible for a long time.
You're not invisible.
Okay.
And you see what I'm saying? Every time I get to talking about soul stuff, you walk real fast. You just get right past it. You say something to shut me up. You put a period behind it real quick. That's trauma. You know I love you so much, but that's trauma. That's trauma. I told you I was going to get you tonight, Dave, and did I get you?
Listen, I know.
I told you I was going to get you.
I got trouble. I understand that. Everybody got a pain body, okay? Everybody got one. And I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my life to healing that. So
you won't have to. You work out way too much to be in trauma all the time. That's another good thing too. You work out way too consistently because endorphins make people happy and heal trauma.
Yep.
You work out way too much to be healing trauma for the rest of your life. It would be almost like physiologically impossible, psychologically impossible because you work out a lot.
I'm a man. It's a dog eat dog world out here for us, okay? It's a
no,
struggle.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. You have so much to offer. I just don't think that the core things that you have from your soul to offer, I honestly feel like you don't see any value in it, and that you see more value in the things that you say that are way expanded than these things that come like they're really, really rooted in you. That's the thing. You just don't see any value in those things, and you put value in, the expanded things that you say. Let's talk about that.
Let's go. Let's talk about it. I ain't gonna run. I ain't gonna run. Okay.
I did have one more question. So I know we were gonna.
All right, come on. Yeah, that's good.
I wanted to ask you, maybe we need a little bit of backstory on how you met this young lady.
Good question. So I met her at the gym. I had eyes for her ever since, somebody hit her car in the parking lot. And that's when I first laid eyes on her. And I knew I wanted her then. I think that was probably a year before I actually spoke to her. And I just paid attention as much as I could when I did see her and just tried to take note or try to speak to her. I was very, very, very nervous to speak to her for a while. I don't know how, but I ended up getting her Snapchat. I don't remember how I did it. And, I'll try to just do my little research when she posted, and I'll watch it and just try to figure out what it was that I can approach her off of and be organic with it. And it was her and her friend standing at the front desk. And it was about probably 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. And I filled out an incident report because somebody hit her car. So the next day her mom can pull the CCTV. And the next day I ran into her mom and I spoke to her mom. And I'm like, okay, so I know who your mom is. I know who your friend is. I know who you are a little bit. I had a small little interaction. And then I think she disappeared for 6 months to a year or something like that. Still in my mind. And then I seen her again. And when I seen her again, I'm like, I'm gonna shoot next time I see her. That didn't happen. And it got to the point to where I was trying to be at the same place at the same time because our schedules just didn't line up. And one day, I started working out at Crunch. Because I worked at Lifetime, but then I would go over to Crunch to work out because I was working at Lifetime. I didn't want to be there too long. And, it was a point to where I was just going to do it. I think I got a text message one day and he was like, hey, such and such is here. So I tried to get dressed and head over to her, but I missed her. And when I missed her, I was like, all right, I'm going to catch up with her next time. So then I found out one day I was upstairs. I seen her on the squat rack before they rearranged the upstairs. And I look up and she was there. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm on the treadmill and I'm talking to a guy named Hasid. And I'm like, I'm finna go do it. So I walk over there and I talk to her. And I guess that she thought I kind of knew. I wanted to make sure because like I said, I see her once every 6 months. And the last thing I want to do is walk up to her and think she's somebody else. So I just played dumb and I asked her what her name was and how she said it. So I was like, okay, I know I have the right person. And then I just shot. And I shot my shot, and obviously we had an external commonality, which was the gym. So I'm like, let's work out. And she was like, she agreed to it. She was down. I talked to her for about 30 minutes, got her Instagram, followed her. She followed me back. And then we were just DMing, and we set plans up to work out the next day, have a little gym date. But her friend got in the way of that immediately, and I knew. And then she texted me and she said, I think I still got the DM. She texted me and she said that she had got into an accident and she was gonna be driving her around. But I just seen her friend in there a couple of days ago and she was fine. And I don't think that she was driving her. She wasn't driving her around. I don't know how she was getting around, but it wasn't her. And I'm like, what? That's when I knew at that moment that she would be a problem.
The friend?
The friend, yes. And the friend lied, like I told you, and was saying that I tried to talk to her. But then I came across a guy not too long ago, and he has all the messages still to this day from the year she accused me of trying to talk to her. And the timelines added up. I'm like, bro, I just looked at it and I just smiled and just shook my head, because if you were only here when I was talking to her, and it's crazy because he looks just like her current boyfriend. It just I think the situation would just blow up if all of this stuff came to light. And I know I'm getting way ahead of myself, but that's how I met her. And I was trying to make sure if she was coming in there by herself all the time, if she was coming in with a bunch of other guys and stuff like that. I was just trying to pay attention to see what I was getting myself into. And everything turned out.
That's a very good observation, because here we are talking about the situation with you and her and the guy at the gym. Did you see that? Did you see anything like that?
Did I see anything like her, like bringing multiple?
Yes.
Okay,
multiple guys to the gym. Anything, because you
I wasn't there enough, but this came out later. I met her right after, because when I shot my shot at her, I was taking somebody off her account, and she was right there in front of me again. The same situation how it was almost over a year ago. And one time, actually, I was in the gym. Nah, because that has nothing to do. Because a friend called me. It was crazy. I'll explain that to another time. But she was in the gym, and I was taking somebody off her account, and I couldn't look at her because I was so nervous. Then I got a notification that it was her birthday. I didn't have any way of contacting her, but I found a way. I reached out through her friend, and her friend told her. And then I was covering a shift at Lake Houston, and I was closing. I picked up a shift, and I didn't even want to be there. And she just so happened to be walking out, and I was getting off work. I kid you not. I was standing at the front desk, and she hit that corner, and I stopped her. I was like, nah, I stopped her. And we stood there and talked for over an hour. That day, I got her number. And then ever since then, for that day, for like every day for 4 months, we were just inseparable. But when you get to the end of the book, I'll finish the story.
Did you see anything that, from what you did see, that might show you that she might be, we used to call them boppers back in the day, the kind of chick that just eyeballing men in the gym left and right, can't even focus on what they doing. Did you see anything at that point that would?
I seen a major red flag, but I didn't have any experience, so I still just kind of dove into it. But the guy before me was acting really crazy to the point to where I had to know her account, and I still have the note on there to this day about the dude. It was a guy that was stalking her. And I did not understand why he was acting like this. I did not understand this. And she told me, this is why I want you to listen to Trailer Trauma, because it'll make sense on what I'm about to tell you. It's not going to make sense right now, but it will in Trailer Trauma. She told me that she didn't date that guy. I'm like, you didn't date him, but he's acting like this. So something right there wasn't adding up. And the guy...
What was the nature of her relationship with him?
I don't really know. When I talked to him, so the guy obviously said he had something to say about me, and I thought it just don't it don't matter. But I was coming across the desk because I wanted to be in line of sight, because I didn't know if they were dating or not. I didn't know. And he told me yes, she told me no. But this was after he was out the picture. And the guy walks up to the front desk one time acting all cool. At the time, I think he's a cool guy. I don't know nothing about him. He's like, let's catch a workout. This is Snat. Yeah, that's my girl. That's when I found out that they were dating, because he said they were dating. But I don't have her side yet. I had her side when I was in her life, and it just wasn't making sense. I'm like, okay, so how long did this last? And she told me 2 weeks. And I said, okay, hold on. And I remember this time, and I actually thought that one of us was finna die, because I was standing outside. Mind you, I'm hyper aware, and I'm not gonna get too detailed, but I talked to you about this one-on-one because I didn't tell you about this. I'm standing outside the garage. It's Valentine's Day. I went to H-E-B to buy some flowers. I went and bought a bouquet. Somehow, I don't know who it was, but several people texted me. So they knew I was in there. It's Valentine's Day. That's why the reel that I made that I sent you it kind of makes sense. It'll kind of make sense if after this story. But I went there and I was like, there's not too many flowers left. I don't know the language of flowers. I didn't know certain colors mean certain things. I didn't know what the colors meant. I didn't know. Just everything's new to me. I'm asking questions. I'm in here. What does yellow mean? What does blue mean? What does red mean? What does white mean? All type of stuff. So I didn't know. So I bought them all. I took all of them to her spot. She didn't know that I was doing this because I guess I didn't ask her to be my Valentine. I don't know how that stuff works. Okay. I'm new to this. I'm young. I'm just a boy. Okay. I don't know. So I get to the house. I just knew I was happy. I just knew it felt right. I wanted to do this for somebody for so long. I never had a Valentine. I was like, okay, this is my opportunity. I'm nervous. I'm gonna do it anyway. And everything's new to me. You know, I'm out there just, you know, treading life, trying to unlock my life, I guess. And I get there with all these flowers, and I see the car. I'm hyper aware. I see the car that's been stalking her all the way down the street. Now, I have great vision. This was at least, I want to say at least, he was pretty far. I probably want to say like 0.5, maybe like 0.5 miles. I don't know, he was kind of far. And I seen him sitting on the corner before I got out the car. And it's a long street. And it's the only car sitting on the right-hand side. And he's watching the house. Before I told her to come outside, I said, before I pulled the flowers out, I said, hey, you know what? Let me back the car up in the garage. I'll pull the car in the garage, and then I take it out. But I see him, and he knew I seen him because he moved the car around the corner, but I can still see the front of the car. So he can still see what's going on. And I said, that's your stalker. I'm like, your stalker's down the street. And she thought I was playing. I'm like, he's not. Like, I'm serious. I got in the car. I think that day I came back that day because we went to go run some errands. I came back today, and he had called her. I'm going to not get ahead of myself. So I pulled the car in the garage just to drop this off so nobody knows what's going on, so we can all stay safe. I don't know what's going on. I haven't sized up the situation properly. I'm just going off pretty much instinct. So when I get the car in the garage, he drives up the street. That's when it was confirmed that it was him. And I was like, I told you this was him. Now, I don't know what kind of rage he under, and I know I've seen how these situations unfold before. That's why I said, let's go to the garage. So I go to the garage. I make it quick. I drop it off. You know, she said, nobody's ever done this for her before. Probably lied to me. I don't know. I drive out because I had stuff to do. So I leave again. And I told her I was coming back because I had made plans last minute. And I'm going to tell you something. That day, and I'm going to say this because, fellas, I don't want y'all to make the same mistake, if it even is one. But that day, I spent like $700. And I think it was like 8. I think it was either 8 or 1,500 that day. I got to check. It was close. It was somewhere
Why God's creation?
I think it was 8. No. I think it was 8. Because it was all last minute, and I just wanted to do something. I didn't know any better.
Nothing inside of you told you that was a bit extreme. I probably would have been a little put off, quite frankly.
But she didn't. She didn't know. It was just a nice day for her. You know, I'm just now speaking out about this, and it's 2 years later. She ain't gonna never hear this. It don't matter. And nobody gonna tell her. It just, I'm so far in the past, it just doesn't matter. Anyway, I think it was like 7, maybe 7 $8. I don't know. Anyway, besides the point. And I'm just running around doing stuff last minute because I didn't know what I was doing. That's why it was like that. And we just enjoyed the day. And when I came back, I can see that the guy, and she told me that the guy had called her X amount of times. And I can see like 20, 30 missed calls, no caller ID because she blocked them. And I'm like, okay. I was like, you know what? In that moment, I was like, I think whatever's going on, I said, I think you should reach out and figure this out. That was Valentine's Day. It was today. I think you should call him and get closure and handle this the right way so he can stop. Because the guy was a little bit extreme. And I was just like, okay. I didn't understand until I was in the same situation. I'm like, I get it now. And that's all I'm going to say. But I didn't do what he did. Like I told you, it's a certain boundary I don't cross. I don't cross it. And that's the reason why, because I don't want those accusations. Like, I was like, nah, I'm just going to stay away. I'm going to stay on my side of town, on my business. I'm going to stay away. And that's what I did. But yes, 2 years ago on that day, that's the only red flag that I seen. And then obviously looking back in a more mature mindset, I can see there was more, but it doesn't matter now. It's my fault.
So you said, so So you said that you said I'm gonna stay away. So then what happened to make you feel more comfortable moving forward with her?
No, that was after. I said I'm gonna stay away after. So like when everything was gone, like I told you, it's a line that I don't cross. I do not go south of that line. I don't go southeast of that line or southwest of that line. I don't cross it. To this day, I don't cross it. I stay on my side of town. And if it's something I need, I just go somewhere else. Like I do not do it. I don't do it. So, but that was after, because I seen firsthand being there what it did to him. Why would I put myself in a situation? I'm not doing that.
But this was the Valentine's Day, right?
No, this was after. Like that line I don't cross. This was after Valentine's Day. I told her, I think you should clear it up, whatever it is that he wants to know about. And she was like, she told me, these are her words, and I quote, "You can't fix crazy." That's what she said. Those are her words. I encouraged her to fix that. I'm like, I think you should call him and reach and like clear it up. You know,
where was this in the 4 months?
This was February 14th. So it was early.
No, like first month, second month. Okay, so it was early.
I met her, I think I started talking to her January 27th. So not even a month.
Right. So Valentine's Day was still fresh. Like it was still new. It was
new.
New.
That's why she was taken by surprise that I did that, because I just knew I cared about somebody and what I wanted to do, because I could not live with myself if I was talking to her. This is me though. This is me, nobody else. I could not live with myself and not do something for Valentine's. That's me. That's me. Nobody else. I get it. I understand. But that's just me.
Okay, exhale.
But that was the only thing that I really seen that I should have been like, you know what, handle that, and then you let me know what's going on. And once you fix that, I should have done it then. I didn't know any better. But
okay.
I did tell her, like, I think you should fix this. Like, I think you should like clear it up. I don't know how y'all left things, but obviously there's a lot of things that should have been said or should have been communicated or should have had a conversation. Now I understand why he was acting like that.
But why do you think he was acting like that?
You got to finish the book.
Okay, because this was not even a month into the relationship, and this was an occurrence that happened first, and then you guys had probably about 3 more good solid months before the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. If I had any experience, I should have walked away that day, because if she, for several reasons, just for one, if that was me, this is how she's going to handle it. And that's more than enough for me now to understand, like, nah, fix this. And then let me know what's up when you get this squashed, and actually stand on that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to finish the book, and we'll finish our...
Okay.
We'll finish our...
Sounds like a plan.
Our last segment. I just, these things are textbook. There is no, to say some, I think I told you before, I think that you took way too much into yourself as far as like, it's my fault. But this is textbook, meaning it's just written. It's nothing abnormal about it. It's just a learning lesson is what it becomes. And so I feel like you learned a lot. I think the book says that your highlighted sections in the book, you say, fellas, don't do this, say this instead. You talk a lot about the EQ.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, I'm assuming that's emotional
quoting.
Okay, like emotional intelligence.
Yep.
Okay, like IQ but EQ.
Yep.
And so, on a positive note, that's kind of how things are supposed to be. So when I said it's 2 things going to happen, you're either going to get married and live happily ever after, or there's going to be a breakup. So when there's a breakup, you evaluate and you see what you learned about it and how you grew as a person. I'm pretty sure. Well, hopefully she did the same thing. You guys haven't had any contact whatsoever since the breakup?
I haven't seen or heard from her since. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. So I just been on a journey of just understanding me and the situation, and I just do self-reflection. I come to more realization each day, or if I'm not doing it by day, then each week or each month, it'll come back. But there is no fault in that. There's no fault in that. Like, that's okay.
What is something that you can, I want to say take away, but what's something significant that about this relationship that you learned about yourself, or that just sort of caused growth in you, that you can say, you know what, if it wasn't for this bad thing that happened, because we know all things do work together for good. So if it wasn't for that bad thing that happened, then this never would have happened.
How to communicate, and it would be love, wanting to love and love properly and understand and not make the same mistake again. Me not knowing, me not being prepared enough, me not understanding made me want to understand and be prepared enough and want to know more and be on a constant journey of understanding. So even if you can't explain it, I know what you mean. But just because I can do that now, I still want to hear you say it. I still want to hear you say it. And if you can't say it, then that gives me a clear sign that I can't deal with you because you don't know how to communicate. It helps me with my vetting process. It just helps me with a bunch of stuff. See things a mile away. Who's interested, who's not. I've learned a lot. Like, I can read somebody better than they can read themselves. And it becomes a curse at a certain point, but I'm going to keep going because it does get in the way. It does, because obviously you're going to psychoanalyze. But if I'm going to pick somebody to be in my life and this is the most important decision I'm ever going to make, then I'm going to do it. But at the same time, I'm at peace. I don't have to worry about what they think. I don't have to worry about if they check out, when they check out, why they checked out. I don't have to worry about nothing but me. Like, my generation is different. If I back the car up wrong, she got the ick. If I bend over to pick up something that dropped in my pocket, she gets the ick. If I did it wrong, she gets the ick. It's
now, what's
just
the ick?
Like, unattractive.
What's
like, the ick means that made me.
Oh, it's unappealing.
It's unappealing. It's not attractive anymore. It's a turn off. Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what I'm not. I want to be at peace. I want to walk in my house. I want to walk in my house, go about my day, be me, be goofy, make people laugh, and not worry about nobody but me. Because I can't sit here and wonder if she got my back, because I know I got hers. I'm at peace knowing I got my back, and I'm the people that people have. Like, I'm okay with that because I don't meet people like me, and that's okay because nobody consistently works at themselves like I do. Some people do, but that's a needle in a haystack. And for them to be in the same circle as me is a lot to ask for. But I accept it. I'm not going to have people like me because I'm the people that people have.
Well, I guess we're going to see what's going to transpire in our next in our next podcast about.
Oh yeah.
Because I think by that point it's going to be that's probably going to be I'll probably be finished with it at that point.
Yeah. And I think you would understand.
Well, I can't wait because now I'm more intrigued about how this is going to end in the book. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the question, I think a good question to ask me is, what happens if I do see her?
Well, I was not going to ask that question just yet until I got to the end of the book. But what do you think would happen if you...
I won't.
How do you know? Have you ever been tempted to just go in there just to see if you might see her at a time when you thought she might be there?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked me that. I haven't. I want you to know something. I forgot what she sounded like and looks like. I would have to... It would have to be in plain... Like, I would have to be staring at you and be like, that's her. I have nothing. No picture, no nothing. But I think it's better that way.
But you guys actually have mutual friends. I think you mentioned it.
We don't. We don't have the same circle. I didn't go to Lifetime till a year later, after the situation was over with. And then I found out when I get there that people are talking about me to her. I'm like, I haven't seen y'all in a year. Why am I still coming up in conversation? Not to mention, I'm so far in the past, it's not even making no sense to me. And this is why everything I have heard has been against my will.
Oh, so you've heard things?
Yeah, I have.
Well, I think it's highly likely, highly possible, probably highly probable that you'll see her at the gym because that's where you met her in the first place. I mean, that's kind of that was your experience with her. The gym is the common connector,
No,
and so you never know.
It won't happen. Trust me. Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you know something that nobody else knows?
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Trust me.
Okay.
But I guess we gotta just wrap it up for the next segment.
So, but this was quite juicy, though. This was quite juicy to me.
Yeah, you think so?
Yes.
I guess this is the what you would call organic from me. Did I get that right?
Very good.
Yeah, I learned fast.
Very good. I'm glad you noticed that this was like the first time you had like an organic conversation. You had organic feedback, like you just said it, like you just put it. Well, that's good.
I'm a quick learner.
I believe you.
But yeah, that's gonna wrap this episode up. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to share this episode or listen to future episodes. We're going to be dropping mid next week, so stay tuned for that. And if you guys are not following me on my socials, I will have them attached to the description below. But other than that, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye, everybody.